Welcome, welcome. Good morning, Mr. Ron. Good to see you. So, Mr. Ron says, good morning, Vern, and everyone from here in Davao City, Philippines. Good morning, Davao. That's where I wish I was. I wish I was down in the Philippines experiencing the Filipino spirit. Very cool. All right, so today I'm going to do a Q&A, something that I haven't done. So if you guys have some questions, go ahead and give me your questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. And let's try to keep them travel related. So, Mr. Ron, can you hear me okay? Is my audio working good? I need to know if my audio's working for you guys. I am in John TM, right next to Pattaya in Thailand this morning. So that's where we're coming live from. I am in a hostel. I'm trying to think of what the cost is. It's 150 baht to stay one night here in a dorm room, which is very inexpensive. And across from me, they offer a month stay for, I believe it was 4,500 baht. And I think the electricity is extra, and there may be some other extra add-ons like water. But yeah, really cheap stay, and you're right next to the beach within a 3-minute walk. So it's very perfect. So, Mr. Ron, can you hear me okay? Can you give me a thumbs up? I'm going to post a comment. Loud and clear. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. So before I get some questions and people coming in, I'm going to start on a question that people have been curious to know. Why do I stay in Thailand so long? Now, when I was traveling in Serbia, my heart was always to get back to the Philippines. And to get from Serbia to here, it was quite expensive in July. When I came, I think the flight was like $900, and then I had to pay for the hotel quarantine, and that was probably another $600. So you add that up, and it was a lot of money. But the point being was, if I stayed longer, it was going to be cheaper and cheaper to stay long term. Now, I was given 90 days to enter the country, and I was able to COVID extend for 60 days each time at 1,800 baht. Now, somebody asked, how are you able to stay after 90 days? Well, you just apply for the COVID extend each time. And most people have been able to get that. And I've talked to foreigners that have COVID extended, gosh, I think for up to a year or even a little farther. So they're fairly generous at that. Sometimes they try to cut it off and get people to kind of clear up, but usually they keep it open. Hey, A&F, glad you could make it. So if you guys have some questions, throw me some questions. But the question that I'm working on now is, why stay in Thailand so long? So the other reason is, I came to Thailand because there's other countries bordering Thailand that I'd like to visit. I'd like to go to Laos. I'd like to go to Cambodia. I'd like to go to other places, possibly even Vietnam. But the problem that I'm encountering is, a lot of these places, the borders are still not open, or you have to fly over to see them. And that cost starts to add up. My hope was these places would open. I could just get on a bus and throw my luggage in the bus. If I have to get on a plane, the costs start to go up because I'm very loaded down this trip. And so that was kind of my goal, try to keep the cost down, try to visit local countries. And the other thing is if I choose to go to Cambodia, I have 60 days. And if I choose to go there and Thailand closes the visa upon entry and I have to quarantine again, then it's another huge cost. And if they close the borders, then I have to fly back. And there's another $60 to fly there, $60 back. And then how much is the quarantine? So it starts to get pretty expensive. If I decide to go to Malaysia or, for instance, Bali, there's about a $300 flight to go over there. And then if I want to go back to the Philippines, it's another $300. And if Phil hasn't opened before the time runs out in Bali, then, it starts to add up. So for me, the cheapest thing I can do is find the least expensive place close to other places that would keep my costs low and try to travel within there, or just keep traveling within Thailand and experiencing that. All right. So I'm going to. So Gio is back in Davao now. Yeah. That's something that he was talking about, not being happy in Cebu because a lot of things, the services were cut short, and he needs to stream, and he needs to kind of coexist in an area that he's happy with. And if a lot of places aren't open, that's kind of hard to do there. So Davao, I think, escaped most of the hurricane, and so everything should still be, quote, normal there. All right. So, hey, ANF, it's really glad that you could make it, my friend. So, ANF, you usually have some questions. So, if you have a question or two, I'd be happy to answer them. All right. So, Mr. Ron says, I'm in the process of extending past my 3 years here in the Philippines. So, Mr. Ron, what is that going to entail? Are you ready to leave? Are you going to try to do a long term visa? How are you going to extend your 3 years? What's your process? Because if you're on a visitor visa, you can't leave and come back, right? So, what is your process and your plan? Now, I keep seeing reference to the Philippines being open on January 16th to vaccinated travelers, but yet there's still no information about it being open to tourists. So, it seems kind of an odd thing for them to announce. So, could there be something else coming in the pipe? I'm really not sure. Maybe you guys know. I'm trying to keep sourcing more information, but I just get what little bit that I can from here. All right, so I'm going to go through a couple questions that I ran into. So now there's a couple different types of traveling, and one thing that I've thought about calling it is yo-yo traveling. You throw the yo-yo out and you pull it back in because you go to a place and you're there maybe 3 to 5 nights, and then you're there to the next place and the next place. Now, if you think about it, if you have a job and you only have 2 to 3 weeks off, that's pretty much how you have to travel, right? You don't really have time to do much more. But to me, the real meat and potatoes of traveling is if you can long term stay in a place and really absorb what's going on. You learn the people, you learn the culture, you learn where to eat, where not to eat, where to go, where not to go. Versus if someone came to my town where I grew up in and they spent 3 to 5 days there, what do they know? They don't know anything, right? They don't even scratch the surface of the surface. And so for me, yo-yo traveling is just that. You're just getting just a quick yo-yo experience. You're not really getting a full travel experience versus living somewhere. All right, so what else do we have here? Do ANF. Hi, Mr. Ron. How long can you extend at a time? That's a great question. So I can extend in Thailand. I'll offer that for you guys. I can extend in Thailand, COVID extend for 60 days at a time if they offer it. Now, they just said that they will extend the COVID extend another 2 months, and the cutoff date was the 25th. So it's up to interpretation to the officer. So I've been here since July. I've talked to travelers that have been here for over a year, COVID extending. Now, I think the countries benefit by having people here spending money versus leaving somewhere and spending their money there. So I think it's a win-win if they keep that going. So I don't know. I think the locals like having people here. All right, so let's see what he says. Mr. On says, we didn't get anything from it. Okay, good, good. I'm glad you guys did escape the hurricane, if that's what the topic was there. All right, so Mr. On says, they will extend now. You have to jump through a bunch of hoops, and it's costing, for the Philippines, it's costing you 500 US bucks? For how long? How long is your extension for that? Wow, that's a lot of money. All right, so we have Gregory. Welcome. You can ask anything travel related, and I will try to answer it. So this is our travel chat. So yes, go for it. What do you got, Gregory? All right. Hey, Roy. Good to see you. So John Tim is probably about the cheapest place to stay long term. Rents on condos are very affordable now. And that's a good point. So right across from me, I learned that there is a long stay place for, what did they tell me? 4,500. 4,500 bought with maybe add on for electricity and for water. And that's really cheap. That's probably some of the cheapest, and it's like within 3 minutes from the beach. So how do you beat that, right? Yeah, things are really cheap here, and things are pretty vibrant here. That's the other thing. It's out of all the places that I've been, it's probably more vibrant here in Jomtien and up through Pattaya than it's been anywhere else. Families and people are all over the beaches. Most of the places along the beach, well, I'd say 70% of the places seem open. I haven't really dug too far into the past the beach area and into the heart of Pattaya to really give you guys a full idea of what's going on there yet. I'm still kind of honing this area here in Jomtien. All right, so we got the traveling hobo. Welcome, you guys. Welcome. I just received my 9A visa and will be in the Phils mid-March. Good for you. That's exciting. That's really great. That's a lot of work to get that. So good for you. All right. So Gregory, what are your thoughts on slaw bun? What is that? What is slaw bun? Is that a food? Is that a place? I'm not really sure. That's new to me. You stumped me there. All right. So hello, Mac. How be you, Vern? I'm good, my friend. Thank you for asking. So, oh, this is my friend from, I think, from Turkey. Your picture's so small I can't really see it. So I was just going through my shorts videos, and I was going through a video of being shown the Roman underground in Turkey, and I posted a little shorts video on Hey Vern Travels Shorts, and that was a good memory. I wish the place had been open. There was a place where the Romans were in Kayseri, Turkey, where they were storing their food underground, and it's just an incredibly interesting area. And there were some places that I could see the caves. They were kind of open, kind of closed, but there was an actual gated off underground area that I tried to get into, but it was closed. And I met a local, and he was taking me around, but we couldn't get in, and it was really, really a fun experience. All right. So I'm trying to catch up, you guys. All right. So Mr. Ron says that January 15th was only for those who already have a visa, are married, no tourist visa. Okay, is given out. So yeah, what a surprise, right? They just keep the same grind. What blows my mind is why they have not attempted a green lane at all. At all. Why? That I don't understand. I just don't understand. All right, so it is the Philippines, I guess. Up to 9 months, okay. And then Royce says, agree. It's a great place to stay. I've been here 2 years and no regrets. Very cool. All right, so ANF. Hi, Vern. Who is watching your place in Duma with no storage? I have some friends that check on it. The owners do check on it. It is gated. It has had no problems. I'm in a really good community. The Barangay captain lives behind me. There's an expat alongside me on the other side, so it's a really safe area, which is surprising. I can't say that about too much areas that I would really feel comfortable, but I've had people check on it and they say everything's okay. Other than just the car cover blew off on one car and the windows were down on my Pajero, and that, yeah, stuff it's been sitting there for 16 months. So not really good, not good for anything. What am I going to come back to? Are my guitars going to be matchsticks? I don't know. I can't do what I can't do. But luckily everything's still there. What shape is it by the time I get back in the moldy Philippines? God, I hate to even guess. I may be in tears by the time I get back and see my stuff. I don't know. I don't know, you guys. All right. So wash hands. Yeah, that's a good idea. Keep the hands clean here. You know, the COVID thing doesn't seem that bad where I'm at, even though the news had hyped that there was stuff down in this area and north. I just don't get that feeling when I'm in the area that there's like any huge issues here. I think the Philippines is probably having more issues than they are here in Thailand right now. All right. So let's see, what do we got? I don't have much choice as you can't do an out and back right now. Right, right. You're really limited. You can't just do an exit visa. And that's the thing that I worry about here in Thailand. If I left here right now, well, I think it's the end of this month. They're going to do that you can exit and come back. But if I go to Cambodia, I don't want to spend the money to go there and not be there for at least a month minimum. And if I come back, are they going to change the rules? You don't know. And that's the craziness. Everything is so fluid. You can't really make good plans right now traveling. You just have to be flexible and go with it. All right. So what else? So I'm gonna answer a couple of these questions that I've written down that you guys kind of have asked off and on. So one of the ones that's kind of funny is says, am I lonely traveling alone? When I lived in the Philippines, it was easy to find somebody to be with. You know, Being a foreigner in Asia, it's not hard to find somebody to date, to be with. It's not a problem. It's not a big deal. It's not a challenge. It's not a challenge. Now, when I was in the Philippines, I had found gals that I really, I really felt things for, but there was enough missing. And after being married and with a lady for 10 years back in the US, I know what I'm looking for. I'm throwing the dart. I know where my dart's hitting on the dartboard, right? And I don't want to pull the dart out and just start throwing the dart just for throwing the darts. I'm trying to hit to the center because personally, I would like to have a family. So I'm not really into just dating just to date because it takes a ton of time. And right now, I'd rather invest my time into my climb. If you're dialed in on your climb and you've got the time, by all means, if you're single, the sky's the limit. Go dating. And Asia is amazing because the girls actually can make you feel like a human being here. I felt more like a number in the US. And to me, I've had a really good experience dating, but a lot of girls, they tend to tell you that they're in love with you and they don't really know you. And there's a lot of pressure there as a man to be locked into something that, needs more time to grow. And so, yeah, I guess that's where I'm kind of going with that in a roundabout circle. I get lonely at times, but I'm not lonely enough that I'm willing to invest all this energy to go dating, to go nightclubbing, to put all. Because I've done all that. I've just been there. Half a life ago, that was the thing. That was what I did. But now I'm honing on my climb, and that takes a ton of time. All right, so I'm going to go for your guys' questions here. So what do we got? I got here just a few minutes ago. Welcome, traveling hobo. Are you in an Airbnb? I am at a hostel here in Jomtien, and the reason I haven't chosen a long stay is my visa is still in flux. I went to renew my visa in Ayutthaya on the 18th, and the guy there is not so friendly. And I had a warning that he might not be so friendly and he might not extend my visa. And he just had no interest in doing that. He did it for a Chinese gal, but not for the Westerners. So I was told to go down south, go to either Karabi or go down to Pattaya. And Pattaya is the closest for me. And I hadn't been here. And I thought, let's try vlog this area. Let's see what this is like. And to my surprise, I really enjoyed being on the beach here. It's really kind of an interesting, high energy place, and it's probably more high energy than I've in a place that I've been so far in Thailand. So I'm really happy to be here. So if I get renewed in 2 days, I may choose an Airbnb for a month somewhere, and then kind of branch out. The prices are pretty low here, like really low. So all right. So let's see. Traveling Hobo says my 9A visa is based on having a wife in the Philippines. Yeah. The total process was 8 months or so. So much work, right? So much paperwork that just, yeah, it's crazy. So, Mr. Ron, I didn't think I had anything to worry about when the lockdown first started. I had 2 years left. Who would have ever thought it would be closed this long? It's insanity. It's complete insanity. Why they have not had any kind of a green lane for the vaccinated. They told us if you're vaccinated, you would have all these extra options, and there haven't been any options. And why they took so long to actually do the extensions for the people that were needing to COVID extend. I don't know. It just, they're so far behind the eight ball. And what's next? Now you have Thailand loosening their restrictions. And then you have the Philippines that are saying, well, our cases are up, but yet it's not that severe. Our bed spaces are pretty open, and now things are starting to decline. So how long will they ride the declining out before they finally start to change, needing the revenue and opening up their businesses? That's a great question, right? All right, so what do we got? So Balut John, welcome. I only dated one lady. That my wife. Good for you. And some guys just nail it. They hit it. They hit the lottery, and gosh, that's a lucky thing. I'm kind of picky. I want a gal that I can laugh with. I want a gal that likes to do things that I enjoy. I was in a marriage relationship that I thought I picked a gal like that she liked to do things, but once we got together, she quit doing all the fun things that I was hoping that she would continue to enjoy doing. I mean, it was like the faucet just shut off, and it's like, this is not fun for me anymore, And so find somebody that matches you, you know, and just don't settle for just a living, breathing human being. And that was kind of my thing. I didn't know, and I made that mistake, and I won't make that mistake again. So it was a costly mistake, but we learned. All right. So Mr. Ron says, I have been with Nay, my Filipina, since I got off the plane 3 years ago. I've never actually dated anyone here. You're very lucky. You're very lucky for that, Mr. Ron. And I wish it were that easy for everybody too, because it cost me to learn how to navigate the dating scene there, because it's the first thing they ask is how long you been here, and they are asking that for a reason. and some of it is good and has good intentions, and some of it has bad intentions, and you have to learn. It's a learning curve there. All right. So Mr. Ron says 10. I think he meant 10 years. You're just an amateur. I was married for 40. There you go. Well, there you go. That's yeah. I mean, if you can keep something together that long, but my ex, like me, I didn't choose to divorce. She just decided that our roommate situation, our marriage situation, wasn't worth holding on to, and it really wasn't. But you know, marriage isn't for everybody. Some people get married because there's pressure. Some people get married because they think that that's the status thing, the thing to have, and some people feel that if you're divorced, it's better to be divorced than never married. So you know, you don't know. People are like an onion. You get one layer at a time. You don't know who you're going to be with. You take the gamble. You roll the dice. It is what it is. All right. So Balloon John says, my Philippine wife been in USA for 7 years. And how's that working out? Has she changed being in the US? A lot of guys worry about that, and I think it has to change a person. When I meet Filipinos that are on the road that have been here 10 years, 20 years, they're almost half of mentality of the community that they live within. They adapt that environment, even though they call home and they still keep in contact with the people back home. Yeah, it does change you. It does change you. I don't think that you could be in an area for long without it changing you. All right. So Mr. Ron says, what do we got? We have both shots of the Pfizer vaccine. Okay, good for you. Good for you. I was kind of anti-shot, and now I'm for the shot. And I've had friends that didn't make it, that didn't want the shot. So I don't know. It's such a tough topic between people, and it's caused so much division. And I say, it's up to you. Whatever you guys want to do. All right. So hey, Howie, good to see you, my friend. I'm currently dealing with COVID symptoms, and I don't wish this on anyone. Try to minimize your risks, Vern, and take care of yourself. Whew, that's a tough one, my friend, and I hope that it's not as bad for you. Now, I was really sick, I want to say just before I left the Philippines, and it sounded like COVID. And I did like a garlic, lemon, uh, what was that root, that yellow root? Uh, Dang it, I can't think of what it is. It's not I don't think it's a curry, but I did like garlic is an antimicrobial, bacterial, and if you drink like a fresh garlic with lemon and some other things and cucumber, I think those things actually help boost your immune system. And I really think it's worth trying some of that stuff. Those are old remedies, you guys. Um, I'm really sorry you're going through that. All right. Hey, San Juan La Union Vlog. Good to see you guys. All right. I'm just kind of going through the comments as we have them. My wife got her 4-year degree at 21 years old. Now that's fantastic. You guys are helping to help for her future, which helps in your stability with your life in the future also. And I think that's key. A lot of guys, they end up with partners and they don't help build their partners up to take care of themselves for when you're gone and to take care of you, right? So that's huge. That's so good job, Luke John. I think that's great. All right, so ANF says, when you go back to the Philippines, will you settle in Duma? Maybe for a little while. I've got a place there, but I actually want to experience other parts of the Philippines. That energizes me when I go to new places, and I think it could still be a home base, but I've been in a place that I've been quite a bit for quite a long time. So I think I need something new or plan to travel a lot. I do plan to travel a lot. That absolutely. That's what we're going to do. But maybe I'll still have a home base. It just depends. It just depends. I'm kind of playing it by ear. It depends on what is left for me. Am I going to be servicing my cars because the gas is 16 months old in them? What's that going to take? I still have a little work to do on my Pajero. Is my motorcycle going to have to be fully flushed out and get that working again? So I've got to get that stuff working again and dependable before I can hit the road again. So all things to consider. All right, you should be a minimalist and sell everything so you can just go and travel wherever you want. And that's what a lot of guys do. But I still like to have my bed. I still like to have a car that I'm familiar with. To me, it's a luxury I like. I kind of get tired of living out of a suitcase continually over and over and over and over again. I still want to have a home base to come back to. And maybe that's selfish, maybe that's me, but you know, I like to have a place to call home. I like to have a place that's kind of familiar. I know where the crowd is that I can go chat, the people that I, want to get close to and have a deep discussion. I know where the foods are that I like. You get familiar, and yeah, I kind of like that too. So, there's something to be said about having both options. Have a home base that you can just pop out of and just go, and then come back and take your stuff. I have a lot of stuff that I brought from the U.S. and I can't take everything, but there's still things that I want to have, you know. So, all right. So I have a few questions here. So let's see. What did I write down? Maybe I'll just go through your guys' questions here. I'll get ahead of this first. All right. So Mr. Ron says, I met her on Facebook Messenger. I wasn't looking for a girlfriend and had never met a Filipina. Wow. So it worked out. That's incredible. If you can get into somebody that connects with you, that connects on a deeper level and it works out, it's rare, but it's a success story. I appreciate you sharing that. Hey, San Juan La Union vlog. If you guys get a chance, check out his channel. So we did a live stream together. So he says, yeah, any big changes in your wife since she arrived in the USA till now? All right. So I think that's at Mr. Ron, I'm thinking. Hey, Pork Pie, did you try the Burger Queen in Pie? Yes, I did, my friend. Thank you for recommending me to that place. The first time I went there was closed. It wasn't open. So I went back there. Now, I tried the Burger Queen, which is their takeoff of the Burger King. It's not that similar, but it is their burger sensation in the town of Pai, which is in northern Thailand, if you guys didn't know. Now, the burgers were kind of expensive there. They were average size, and it was good. I would give it maybe an 8.5. That was what I would give it. But a lot of times when you're traveling, you can't find comfort foods from home, and that helped me to dial in my burger fix. So that was good. Now I wrote Hey Vern Travels on the wall. If you ever go in there and you look to the top, you can write on their wall, which was pretty cool. They give you the pens. The pens weren't working too good, and I think in one of my videos I kind of did a pan by where I wrote on the wall there, the Burger Queen. So yeah, thank you for recommending that. I always like when guys recommend places that I hadn't been and I can go vlog it. Hey, Surrey Case, are you going to sing? At some point I should. I haven't pulled out my guitar in a while, and I do miss singing. I've kind of looked around for places to karaoke. Now, things are starting to loosen up here. Now, I was told that maybe some of the clubs and stuff are open until 9, and they're going to possibly extend at the end of the month till 11. And maybe I'll look for a place to karaoke. Maybe I'll do a little karaoke for you guys. That would be fun. I do miss that. I love to do the Eagles and a lot of the other songs. All right. So, Traveling Hobo. My wife laughs at my jokes. Perfect. Sometimes it's the little things in a marriage that keeps it going. That is so important. If you can find someone that you can laugh with, that's half the battle, you guys. That is half the battle. And the beautiful thing about a foreigner relationship is there's always something interesting. There's always something different. There's always a dynamic that's just kind of working together where if you're from the same countries, it seems like there's so much similar that it doesn't keep it as interesting for as long, right? You kind of know each other, you figure things out, but having that differences in the relationship to a foreign girlfriend, a foreign boyfriend I think it's invaluable. I think it's really, really a blessing. It's a blessing. All right. So pie. Okay. So turmeric. That's what I'm looking for. Yes. So give yourself a mix of turmeric, fresh garlic, maybe a little lime, a little lemon, and some cucumber, and drink that like a cold tea. I tell you what, you guys, just the garlic alone gave me energy and helped me feel a little bit better. And I did that. I was really, really down and out in the Philippines. I want to say the January before I left or the February. And I think might have had what would have been an early COVID because I had something in my chest and I couldn't breathe very well and it just wouldn't leave. And I had it for like 6 to 8 weeks. But and I had like this headache that normally I can take a couple aspirin, my headache would go away, and the headache stayed with me for quite a while. But that mix of those ingredients together really helped give me a boost. That really helped to bring me back to life. All right, so that's the root. Yes, thank you, my friend. All right, so Balut John, I think I'm getting you guys are ahead of me on the question. So good job, Balut John. My wife only needs to see 11 states to see all the states. I think of it as a form of education. Okay, well, you know, some people like to travel, some people don't want to travel, some people have it dialed in where they want to go, right? And they just have that vision. Chicago, San Francisco, New York, and that's it for them. They're happy with that. But the thing that I found, if traveling is your passion, find somebody that inspires your passion, that wants to travel with you, that doesn't make you feel guilty that you want to travel or that you have to travel alone. The thing that I noticed, if you have to start doing things alone all the time, then it seems like, in my example, you become a house divided, and then you're doing this and they're doing this, and quite often you're going different directions, and that doesn't help people to become close. So find people that work with you, that you can help them, and I think that is the key to long success in a relationship anyway. All right, so I drove my wife around the USA. Good for you, good for you. And if that's your thing, I hope you can keep doing it, and I hope she keeps supporting that, all right, Mr. Ron, give Davos City. I like it here. Okay. We were in Bohol for a year before moving here. So Bohol is kind of nice, but I hear a lot of people do like Davao. Davao is very, very modern from what I've heard, and it is pretty well dialed in. Good internet, good nightlife, a lot of good high end options. If you want low end up to high end, they have it there. Where Bohol is well, they do have some touristy places, but Davao has touristy, or I'm sorry, yeah, Davao has touristy, and they actually have a residential, a nice dialed-in residential, high-end, mid-tier, and low level. So yeah, it has a lot more options. All right, so we got our spam, of course. Hey, David, good to see you. Hello, Vern. I finally caught one of your live streams. Welcome, my friend. Glad you could make it. It's always good to see some of you guys when I recognize your names for a long time. You, long time, long time viewers to our YouTube channel and our stream. Thank you. So the traveling hobo, here come the bots. You know it. You know it, my friend. It's guaranteed. And I noticed, it's just kind of funny. I've got the same bots that some of my other viewers have. I noticed San Juan La Union has a similar bot that I had. Could that be a coincidence? I don't know, you guys. Davao City a try. I haven't been to Davao City. It's kind of crazy, but I've been to Cagayan de Oro. I've been to trying to think of what that island is. If you go to Cagayan de Oro and you go east and then you go up, there's a volcanic island right there. I spent a little time there, which is beautiful, but it's very, very sleepy. It's just a vacation island. Unless you really like no people, then that's a good island. I can't think of the name of it, you guys. But I haven't been farther south, which I need to do. I really need to do that. All right, so what do we got? Mr. Ron, she's 20 years younger than me, but she is not a kid at 46. You know what? Age dating. I look at it like this. If someone is an adult, that's their choice to choose. Being an adult, that's what adult is. It's choice. And I look at, if someone wants to choose to date somebody that's an adult, I look at it, that's your deal. That's your deal. If I had a kid or whatever, I would tell them the same thing. When you become an adult, you have free choice. That's your choice. I hope you're happy. I hope it works out. If it doesn't, well, then it doesn't. But do what you want to do, And I think that's what adulthood is: freedom, right? We choose an age where they become free to make their own choices. And I figure, go for it. That's your choice. Because I wanted the choice. I didn't want somebody telling me, no, you need to do this. That's not freedom. So that's where I come at the age gap. So good for you that you found what worked. And you know, what did I hear one time? They said, let's leave the age gap decisions up to the love doctors. Let them decide what works, what doesn't work. I don't know. I'm not that guy. All right. So San Juan La Union blog says the Philippines is now considering just home quarantine for those arriving in the Philippines. I think that's going to be the theme. We're running to a point where People can't keep these places closed any longer. They're going to lose their mid-level and their low-level businesses because they just can't survive off of being closed. It's just not a functioning thing, right? So I think this year we're going to start to see things opening up despite whatever happens. I think we've really hit that limit. All right. So we've got Dan's retirement journey. Welcome, Dan. Philippines bound. Good for you. I think that's a wise choice. Hi, Vern, watching from Sacramento. Good to see you, my friend. My Filipino wife has been here in the U.S. for 16 years, but she's as anxious as I am to settle into our retirement home in Bay Bay Leyte. Very cool. Now, I found that even though people change when they're living in the U.S. or like, for example, the Filipinos, they still are homesick. There's still a huge part of the Philippines that they cannot find. And I think that's why they really hone into the Filipino community when they go to these towns because they need that energy, they need that dynamic. And yeah, I could see why she'd really be excited to get back. I'm homesick for the Philippines, totally homesick. And everywhere I've traveled, I could never find that energy, that dynamic that I enjoy, that I miss. So yeah, that's all right. So Balut John says, no perfect woman. They all have their faults, as do the men, right? I mean, there is some compromise in there. Yeah, I could go down a rabbit hole in that topic, but I'll just leave it at that. You're right. All right, so the traveling hobo. The Phils needs to modify the RT-PCR test 48 hours before departure. It is too short a time frame. You know, right. If you get a flight that's late, if you get a flight that cancels, then what? You know, it just gets crazy traveling right now. It's expensive. It's not a cheap thing, especially with fewer flights. The costs are so much more. So Porcupine says, "Where are you now, Vern?" I am in Jom Tiem Beach, just this side of Pattaya. I am here to try to renew my visa in 2 days. Now, I tried to renew in Ayutthaya, which is just north of here, and the friendly guy there did not like to renew visas for foreigners, and I was told that that might be a problem. So I was told by a few foreigners that they're pretty foreigner friendly here in Pattaya and in Krabi. And I've noticed that Krabi was very foreigner friendly for extension, as was, where else did I extend? Krabi and maybe it was Surat Thani. I've had no other problems. No other problems. It's really been, very visa friendly, but just that one guy, and they decide your fate. It's just that way. And you could find the same thing anywhere when you travel. All right. But it is what it is. So I am a guest, and I have to just do what I can do. So Porcupine says, what do you prefer, the PI or Thailand? That's a great question. So I kind of like both. I really do. And I touched on this topic before. When you travel somewhere, it's new, it's exciting. There's a new energy and a new life, and you feel energized. And after a while, that energy starts to go down as things become familiar. You know what to expect. And then what happens is things that kind of irritate you, things that grind on you, then those start to kind of ratchet up. And then that becomes a little bit more of your focus. Now, at some point, I figure it's at like a year and a half, 2 years, you need to leave and reset your mind. So you need, I would say, a 3 month reset at that period. And for me, Thailand would be a great place to go because there are more things that are normal, that are predictable, that don't drive me as crazy, but yet there's things that make me want to miss the Philippines again, like the language, the ease of communicating to the people. I can go on the street anywhere in the Philippines and say hello, and people will talk to me nonstop. I've never had anybody in 5 years say, you know what, I'm in a hurry, I got to go, I can't talk to you. No, they'll sit there and just talk to you. I'm thinking, don't you got to be somewhere? Don't you got to be to work? And so I miss that. I miss that deep connection that I've only been able to find in the Philippines so far. So I think it's good to have more than one country to pick from. And for me, Thailand is I believe it's a little cheaper here. So if you want a cheaper alternative, a place to go for your 1 year exit, that is a little different. that has some really old history. The Philippines doesn't have a lot of history. It doesn't have the really good food thing going. I think come here, come here for that exit. And everybody needs to find something they need. Some people have to find things that are more ordinary, things that are more predictable. They don't like the Wild West like the Philippines. It may not be your thing. So for me, the Philippines, I like the Wild West, and I would choose to vacation to come here for 3 months. And I believe that after a 3 to 5 years being somewhere, you need a whole 6 month reset to really feel that you're not in that focus of where you've been living for a while. And this would be a great alternative, really would. All right. So Mr. Ron asks, a perfect woman wouldn't want anything to do with me. I'm surely not perfect, and if you've met that person that matches you, all the better, right? It's about accepting a flawed human being by another flawed human being. It really is. It's just there are no perfect people. We're all flawed, broken people. And I think the people that expect perfectionism out of another person, I think that's not attainable, and they're never going to be happy. All right, so the traveling hobo says, I would never marry a woman who would have a husband like me. Well, there you go. She must be really tolerant then, if you could find that. Perfect. All right, so thank you guys. You guys are really keeping the questions going. I haven't had to dip into my own question list here. All right, so Mr. Ron says Davao is the largest city in the Philippines and land area and one of the largest cities in the world. I just never see it like that. It just doesn't come across, but I've heard that before. I have heard that before. I always picture in my mind that Manila, being one of the oldest cities, would be spread out more. And it looks, when you fly out of Manila, it just looks massive. And I can't imagine Davao being bigger. But yeah, that's crazy. I do need to experience that, and I will do that. I will make a trip down to Davao. I need to visit the southern Philippines and meet with some of you guys down there. That would be really cool too. All right, so AF says COVID will not go away anytime soon. I believe that. I do believe that. So we have to manage through it. Hope government accepts this. They should allow fully vaccinated people and people who test negative. Totally agree. Totally agree. Why not, right? If if somebody tests negative and they're willing to spend money in your country and help your businesses, why would you be against that? That doesn't make any sense. Because quite often people go there, they buy a car, they buy a motorcycle, they rent a place long term. All that adds up. All that adds up. So yeah, I'm all for it. All right, David said, Vern, is there a limit to the amount of time that a tourist can stay in Thailand at this time? It's just up to the people that decide they don't want to COVID extend, or they will COVID extend. Now, my thinking is if they didn't want the tourists, they wouldn't keep COVID extending, right? I mean, that's my thoughts. And is it not in their best interest to keep COVID extending because that money stays in Thailand? If they tell people they don't want them there, then the money's going to go somewhere else. It's going to go to a neighboring country. I would have been happy to have kept the money in the Philippines and have stayed there. They could have used that money, right? I don't know. I'm not in control. I can't make the decisions, but to me, I think there's somebody somewhere that's probably thinking along those lines that if they keep extending until everything opens up, then why not? Why not? It's a win-win for them. It's a win-win for the people that are struggling to have businesses. Um, you know, uh, yeah, I could go down a rabbit hole with that question too. But as far as I know, as long as they keep extending, you usually get 90 days in the tourist extension, and then you can apply for the COVID extension if it's still an option, which it has been for a very long time. I think maybe over a year and a half. I've met some travelers that have been here over a year on COVID extending. So yeah. All right. So San Juan La Union blog says, Vern, you got to come up here. I will do that too. I have some people that have a car culture in Manila that I would love to see the car culture and go up to the rice fields and go visit you up there, actually. So you got an extra longboard. I would vlog me trying to surf. I have a GoPro, and yeah, that would be really exciting. We got to go surfing and then a cold one at the beach. That would be perfect. That would be a good weekend, my friend. I will take you up on that. I totally will. It might not be when I get back, right away because I need to kind of get things honed in. But yeah, yeah, within a year for sure I'll be up there. My wife is 28 years younger. Our son is now 6 years old. You know what? Congratulations. I think if there's love between two people and it works out for you guys, that's your business, and it doesn't need to make sense to anybody but you guys. If I see more unhappy people that have age relationships that are almost identical or within a few years apart. I see more problems, more issues, less love. Um, and back in the US, there's like a 10-year window. They only like that you date within 10 years. And to me, that doesn't make any sense. And in the US, a long time ago, our country did it start that way. There was a time where you would be a farmer and there would be a school teacher coming out of the country and she would need to maybe make a family and she would pick somebody quite a bit younger. This whole 10-year window, it's all new and it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So the sooner that's gone, I think the happier people will be. All right. So Mr. Ron says it is all best guess, but I look for the PH to open the first half of this year. You know, I think you're right. Now they have, I think, the World Travel Council they're hosting. I think it's in March, and not being open or not having any tourism, that I don't know if that looks good for them. And with the elections in May, I don't know. I think it would be in their best interest to get things back to normal. If you're running for election, that's just my guess. I don't know. All right, so let's hope so. Let's hope so, my friend. That's just my thoughts too. Also, all right. So Harrison Morta, welcome. I remember going to Thailand a few years back. Got into a lot of trouble when my girlfriend from the street refused to leave. She then finally said it was because it was more safe in my room than outside. That's really bizarre. That would be a very strange experience. I don't know that I would have picked that girl again for another date, right? Yeah. Uh, okay. All right. Thank you for sharing that. There are some strange things that happen when you date uh, when you date foreign foreign people, right? Because there can be some culture differences. There can be some jealousy. There's some weird stuff that can happen, and it can go really good or it can go really bad. All right, so Roy says, all my long term relationships have been with foreigners. Agree that dynamics are different. Living in London when I was younger is a melting pot. So many choices of foreign ladies. Well, that's interesting. That's very interesting, Roy. So, did you like living in London more? Or did you like living where you are different? I personally like where I'm different. I like to be, uh, like totally different here in Asia. And to me, I feel less of a number and I feel more of a human being. I don't know about you guys, but all right. So Mr. Ron says, I just go with the flow. There you go. That works too. All right. So Harrison Morta, the girl explained there's a big crisis with gang rape with these young girls. Is this a thing in Thailand? I don't know. I don't follow the news here that much, and a lot of it's in Thai. A guy could watch like the Thagger or the Tiger. That is a local news channel. I don't know. I mean, I hear so many things when I travel about a place before I get there, and then I get to these places, and the thing driving the fear was usually not as serious by the time I get to the place. So I don't know. There's so much negative media that isn't. I don't know. It isn't really relevant by the time I get to these places for the most part. Not that it doesn't happen, but usually the fear is larger on the media than it is on the ground, from what I've kind of gathered. So Mr. Ron says, not everyone who wants to come here so bad will actually like it. Right. It's not for everyone. You have to, like, water seeks its own level, right? So pork pie, there was a good breakfast buffet on Soy White House. Thank you. There were two on that soy. I don't know if they're still open. They were cheap, about 150 baht. And I'm looking for a good breakfast, so I will try to look for something there. Thank you, my friend. All right, so Roy says Jomtien is a great base for travel anywhere in Asia. The flights are cheaper from Bangkok. Even when I go home to London, the flights are affordable. And that's kind of the thing that I found too. Bangkok is such a hub for Asia, that everything usually flies in or out of Bangkok. And if you can keep that as your hub, totally. And this area here, it's just, a short distance away, right? And it's cheap. So I think you're right. I am finding that for the energy, the livelihood for this area, I think this is a great spot to make a hub. And I may do that. I may plant here for a little while if the Philippines doesn't open and do some van trips out of here. All right. So Pork Pie says, I know this place is open. That is the best breakfast buffet in Pattaya. It's called Casa Pascal on Second Road, Pattaya. It's about 250 baht, but I can guarantee you will enjoy it. So is it an all-you-can-eat buffet, or is it fill your plate once? I'm kind of curious. I haven't found an all-you-can-eat buffet. For that kind of money, it sounds like it might be, and I'd love to find a place like that because sometimes I just like to sit at what we used to call the trough and just pork out once in a while. Just go for it, right? That's kind of fun. All right, so Roy says, I have a retirement visa. Good for you. It's very easy, and I just use an agent and renew once a year. Now, I had heard that you need to have like a large sum here in Thailand for that, but somebody said that you could pull it out within a short time. I'm not sure. Maybe you guys know better. Maybe you can mention what that process is. I'm still kind of learning about the Thai visas here. All right. Oh, it's quite a high-end place. Okay, thanks for that, Pork Pie. Cool. Is it connected to a very nice hotel, I wonder? All right, so Mr. Ron says, Manila has the largest population here than Cebu. Oh, Manila, okay. Davao is third in population. Okay. You can go in and out of the city without ever leaving the city, right? Interesting. Yeah, I'm surprised at some of how big Manila is. And you really fly, you see it, and all the pollution there. But you don't notice it so much when you're down in Manila. Maybe if you're real sensitive, you do. But when I'm down there, it seems like the pollution is always like 10 miles away. But in reality, you're in the pollution, and for some reason, it seems like it's farther away. I don't know. It's just it's a strange thing. And I noticed that when I was in Bangkok too. The pollution seemed farther away, but I didn't notice it coming in from the sky as much as Manila. Manila, they're burning everything, right? They're burning the trash, and it all just kind of waves in and kind of settles in Manila for some reason. All right. So we've got the traveling hobo says the 10-year window only applies to regular people like us. The rich and insane get a 100-year window. Right. Money opens a lot of doors. It really does. It really does. All right. So I'll go to this other comment. Then I'll go through some questions that I wrote down for you guys. All right. So Roy says, I've had to end my relationship with my Filipina because of the virus. Oh, that's too bad. Sorry for that. As I have let's see, have a Thai girlfriend, it wouldn't be right. Okay. Yeah. And I can't imagine how many people are going through that, right? They couldn't get back. They have a girlfriend, and maybe they wouldn't wait forever, right? And that's up to them. That's up to them, right? To decide, uh, you know, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If the bond and the love is there, a lot of Filipinas will wait. They'll wait. They'll stick it out. And I can't say that for a lot of the other girls that I've dated in the U.S. Man, they're dating 3 to 5 people, right? And yeah, they're not going to wait for nothing. If you didn't meet that criteria, you're gone. And a lot of guys are like that too. They're just in and out dating, just like a Rolodeck. They're going through the Rolodeck. Who can I date tonight? Who can I date? There's no long term for most people there. So yeah. All right. So we got some more questions. Thank you guys. So Pork Pie says it's an all you can eat buffet. Perfect. It's a Swiss owned place. It's a high end. They cook your eggs, bacon, all fresh in front of you. Wow, that's kind of cool. Good coffee and hot chocolate. A lot of European cooked meats and cheeses. Ooh, I like that. Like a nice deli. So that's one of the things I love about Dumaguete in the Philippines. Dumaguete has all those things that a foreigner really wants to find in the way of food when you're on the road. Because over time, the things that you miss are most often food related. Now, Dumaguete has a wonderful delicatessen called the Why Not, and they have some great meats, some great imported stuff, some great stuff that they make local, and that to me is like an invaluable treasure chest. And you open it up, you're like, oh, thank you, because Thai food is great, Filipino food, it's okay, But after a while, you miss the stuff that you miss. You miss the stuff that's familiar, right? And that seems to be quite a familiar thing. All right, so we got, let's see. Mr. Ron says, what I was trying to say is a lot of areas don't have city buildings. There's a lot of open areas here. Oh, that's nice. That's real nice. So you feel like you're not surrounded by the city so much. That I'm really curious to see that. I will go down there. I want to experience that, my friend. Pork Pie says, Yog hurt. You will love it. Perfect. Thank you for that. All right. So AF says, Vern, our tour in Sarago will have to be postponed for a while because the typhoon really hit our island hard. Yeah, I'm really sorry for that. Maybe we can tour another place where it's not affected. Well, who knows how long it'll be before I can get back. Maybe everything will be restored by then. I don't know. I still want to see Surigo, even if it is hit hard. Maybe I can offer some help just to see the area. Um, I don't know. I'm not like a fair weather friend. Even if a place is not in its best shape, I still want to see it. I'll still travel. I still want to travel and get out. So even to see you and to see what you have going on there, I would be happy for that. So I'm not like expecting a fancy thing. So just a ship and hang out and just learn something about a new area and the people there. I'm happy for that too. I'm pretty easy to please, you guys. All right, so Roy says, Ayere, if I said that right, Place Resort has all you can eat buffet, 150 baht here in Jomtien. Perfect. I'll look for that too. I will really try to find that. All right, so Delta Chris, hey, my friend, good morning. Good morning. And Mr. Ron, good to see you, Delta Chris. All right, so he says, I love the salad rolls at Why No and Why Not in Duma. That place is a foreigner's haven for food and for nightlife because that's really all the nightlife there is. But I tell you what, it's a little more money, but if you're missing the foreign foods from home, they've got it dialed in. They really do. All right. So it says good morning there. And the why not? Yeah, yeah. All right. So I'm trying to think of some of the questions that I wrote down here for. Um, let's see. Pattaya. One of the things that I was kind of surprised at, and I keep reading in a lot of the different blogs, is that Pattaya, and the area around Pattaya gets a bad rap for the scene here. But the thing that really surprised me when I came here on the Tuk Tuk was that I would say 85% of the businesses or more here are just normal businesses. They're normal people. They're people that open up their shop in the morning. They sell food. They wash clothes. They open up a restaurant. They open up something to cater to the people here. And they're just normal folks. Now, you go down the beach at night, there's all these Thai people, and they're sitting on their little mats, and they're enjoying the sea. They're enjoying their fellowship. They're having company. So this area is not like total crazy land. It's here. If you want to find it, you can go there. But you don't have to do any of that stuff. You don't have to partake in the wild scene, the wildlife. You can go to normal bars. You can go to normal restaurants. You can just be normal. And the thing that I found that I really like about this area so far in the short term that I've been here is it has a good energy. There's a lot going on. I can go and see people. I can hear music. It's almost like being in Dumaguete on a normal time. And it's even busier than a Dumaguete. And I miss that. I like that. And to me, it almost feels like the Philippines coming down this strip here. It has a lot of familiar feelings here. And like I say, I haven't explored into Pattaya. I haven't been to the Pattaya beach. I haven't been to a lot of stuff yet. But just outside of it in the Jomtien area, which is still connected, it's just divided by probably a border. I like it here. I like this area. And the prices are low and it has a good vibe so far. Like I say, I haven't done more, but that's my thoughts. All right. So we got time for a few more questions, you guys, and then I will end the live stream. And I really appreciate all of your questions, all of your chats, all the time that you guys have taken to contribute to this. So thank you so much, you guys. That means a lot to me. It really does. All right. So Roy says, Feel sorry for Siargao. Was there 3 years ago? Such a beautiful island, And I heard so many people tell me you gotta go see Siargao before it gets too touristy, before it changes. And some people had said they thought it had already changed, and that was the plan, to go south and check it out. And I feel sorry for everything in the Philippines, because it was hard before all this COVID stuff, and then to have the typhoon come. Oh my gosh. Oof, it's just a hard road for those people. All right, so that's why I say, if they open things up, the sooner the better, because they really need that. All right, so Pork Pie says there is a local market on that. I don't know if I could say that, the Passett Road. It's on at the weekend. They have good Thai food. There's some great Muslim fried chicken. There's some really cool uh, foreign food options here. I've seen Indian food. I've seen Turkish food, and I want to try some Turkish food again. I miss some of the foods there. There's something called a pita, and it's like a long pizza. What they do is they take and make this long dough, and they take their hand and they smear on like tomato and meat and whatever they're going to smear it on, and then they take olive oil and they just smear it all over the thing. They cook it, and then they smear olive oil back on it, and it was just fantastic. I think I ate pita. I think it's pida, pita, Turkish pita. I ate it 5 days in a row when I was in Selçuk, Turkey. And the funny thing was, that's where I met Gabriel Traveler. He was out walking the street, and I'm eating the pita for like my second or last night out. And he comes to the corner, and he stops at the corner I was at. I'm sitting there at the restaurant, and he does like a circle, like, "Why am I here? What am I going to do next? And where do I go?" And I looked at him and I said, "Hey." And I talked to him, and he put me in one of his videos, by the way. And I had that pita moment, that foreign food moment. So yeah, I'd like to try Turkish food. They have some really flavorful stuff if you guys get a chance. And so Muslim fried chicken. I don't know that I've had food that was just considered Muslim fried. I can't say that I have. Is it any different? Do they cook it in a different oil? I don't know. Let me know, will you? All right. So Delta Chris says, meanwhile, I'm still in Australia, 14 months now. My girlfriend, and I haven't seen each other. That's so tough. I could go down this rabbit hole and talk about why they haven't had a green tourism lane. I have some thoughts, but I don't know that it's for positive content. So hopefully soon. It really was a deflator when they said in December they were going to open, and then 2 days before they pulled the plug. Right? That was a gut punch. So they got to do something soon. Why they would announce vaccinated tourists 3 or 4 weeks away, starting in January 16, is beyond me. Maybe they have a plan for something else coming after that. So it seems like they announced just before the 1st and just before the 15th of their new changes for anything coming down the pipe. So maybe something will happen. Things are loosening up here in Asia now, and things are loosening up in other places where I think they're just going to live with COVID and just work through it. So hopefully the Philippines will do the same. All right. So we got a few more questions, you guys, and then we will end our live stream. I could go longer, but I like to keep it an hour, just to keep you guys hungry for the next live stream, and it gives me more things to talk about next time. All right, Mr. Ron says we have a Sari Sari store times two and a food stand. No one wants to work, and she can work out of our house. So you know that's the thing. There's so much competition for a Sari Sari, for raising pigs, having a restaurant, or having a resort. I don't know how everybody can keep busy. I mean, maybe there's enough for a family just to kind of be sustained if they have their heart into it and they're willing to work it. You know, it if it works out and you can make a profit, all the better, right? I'm just not sure what to tell people when they want to have a business. I've seen people open businesses. I've tried to help people open a business or two. And if they don't have a business mentality, it just won't work. Or if they start not taking it as a business, and yeah, it can be a rabbit hole having a business in the Philippines with the wrong people. You have to have some business mindset or be willing to learn that, right? Because I had my own business for 20 years and I wasn't a good business person. I was dedicated and I did the work, but I wasn't I wasn't a good marketer. I didn't have all the other stuff dialed in that it takes to do really good business and to keep it going. And that's a mindset. You either learn it or you have it. All right. So Pork Pie says Pattaya is an excellent retirement destination. You've got everything, hospitals and sport clubs, and the girls are just a bonus. And that's what I'm finding, right? It's kind of dialed in here. It has a lot of things that if a guy wants things predictable, there's a lot of things that are predictable, but you maybe have more girls that speak English here because there are more foreigners. So, I haven't, like I say, I haven't really gotten into the local community, so I can't say, and I haven't gone into the local expat population here. So I'm just going off from what I see on the surface, but I'll take your word for that. And I've talked to a few people that have come here that come to the live stream that say this has been a good experience for them, that are retired, that did stay long term or were considering it as a long term option. All right, so where are you from? The States. I grew up in Minnesota and I lived there for about 20 years, and then I moved to Oregon, and I had my business just outside of Oregon City, so I was there for 20 years also. So I kind of divide my time between the two places. If people ask where you're from, I kind of have to say both places. So yeah, that's pretty much where I was from, Mr. Ron. Okay, so we're just about. I'll take two more questions and then I will wrap it up, you guys. So Mr. Ron says Manila, Cebu, Davao, and most of the Philippines is on level 3 again. Yeah, depending on what your city you're in and how strict they enforce it, kind of determines on how crazy that is. Yeah, and you think about it. I left in September 2020, and it was locked down back as far as March. And I remember being so locked down at one point that I could only leave to go shopping or grab a fast food to take it out. And I remember I'd grab my little chicken dinner at KFC and I'd go sit down by the sewer reservoir where some of the homeless people were living. And I'd go sit and eat my chicken dinner there so I could at least be outside away from my place to eat where nobody would hassle me. And I remember that there were people that were homeless that were down there. And I'm thinking, I wonder what they're thinking about me, because they're definitely looking at me. Why is this guy sitting down here eating his dinner? Because I wanted to actually sit outside. And I don't know that would be too exciting to do that again. So, I hope things loosen up soon, you guys. I really do. All right, one more question. All right, so Mr. Ron asks, well, it just supplements my pension. We don't do bad because I sell stuff that others don't. That's perfect. That's really smart. I owned a tropical hatchery in the US. Very interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. So I think that's smart. If you can find a niche that nobody else has, and I think catering to foreigners, selling some exotic things that other people don't have. I'm looking for Miracle Whip, for goodness sakes. If I could get a jar of Miracle Whip, I would be so happy. I miss making my tuna sandwiches with Miracle Whip. I don't know. Some people either love Miracle Whip or hate it, but I cannot find that in the Philippines. And if somebody had Miracle Whip, I would gladly buy some. I cannot find it. I've been looking for 5 years. I can't find it. And I know guys that went from Dumaguete up to Bacolod, which I think it's like a 6-hour ride. And one guy found a case of stovetop stuffing, and he strapped it to his motorcycle to bring it back to Dumaguete. So, if you had some of those things, they would pay more for that, and it would not last long. So, just like Filipinos have their own little sari-sari store, I think having a foreign goods store would do good. I really do. And if you're in an area where there are a lot of foreigners. All right, you guys. Well, I'll save some of your questions for the next time if you have any more. And I have a video out tomorrow of Ayutthaya. My friend Aaron asked me if I was going to Ayutthaya, and I did an Ayutthaya video, and it may be a second or a third part video. Well, it is a second part video, but there may be a third part depending on how much footage I have for the next part. But that is such an amazing place to experience the ruins from the 1300s all the way up to the 1700s. I mean, that is just incredible. And I got to go inside one of the temples. And the stairs were like this steep, and I watched this guy like crawling down very slowly. I'm thinking, I'm holding my gimbal. I better be careful. I'm going to fall down. And there's like no railings around the thing. So if you did fall, you would eat it. You would literally eat it. But to go inside there, it was pretty incredible. And to see the view of all the temples out there, that was an experience. That is the old Bangkok right there in Ayutthaya. That was before there was a Bangkok, there was Ayutthaya. All right, you guys, well, I'm going to end it on that. Thank you so much. And I'll see you the same time next time. And I'll try to come up with a theme. I don't have a theme yet. So if you guys have a theme for the next live stream chat, I'll pull up some of our topics, but we can talk about something else too. All right, you guys, over and out. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.